Hello YouTube, welcome to my first ever video on this channel. So today, I just came up with a random idea of making a Roblox video. It's not like gaming or anything, but if you guys want, comment down in the description and we could do like a Lua tutorial on how to make Roblox games. So I'm gonna first boot up my Roblox Studio. It's very important. So let's start with a new blank plate to get back to the basics. Alright. So right here we have our game, okay? So this is a three-dimensional thing. You won't see this on your first time, I believe. If you go into view, you can enable a lot of these. So these are all my settings that if you are serious about like making a good a serious Roblox game, I would recommend you have some of these. Sometimes even more. But this is what I normally have. Let's go back to the basics. So we have the select tool. So if we have a part, the select tool just lets us drag it around and nothing else. But, okay, so if we go to the move, this will let us move by the, this is the Z axis, blue is Z, X is Y, I meant red is Y, I meant red is X, and green is Y, okay? You can see it up in this little thing right here, Y, X, Z, okay? Roblox is a three-dimensional game, so we will have three axes. So we have the X. So if you go into the properties, we have the name of the object, so we can name it like hello. This will make it different from all the other parts. So say I make a new part and call it part. It will make it different. So if we put it in a script, we can specify this part, and it will separate it from the rest. Right. Then we have brick color. Brick color are the built-in Roblox colors to be used. So we have all of this. You can see it's live. But if you want it to be more specific, we can go into the color tab. Inside we have a whole color wheel to choose from colors to colors. And that's pretty cool. Then we have materials. These are all materials that this can take on. So we have like glass. You might not notice a difference, but if you can see, so this is glass and we'll change it to like cobblestone. This is cobblestone. You can also do force field. This is force field. It's like a really cool glass. So anyways, we know Roblox starts us off with the plastic, right? So we have we have the behavior. So we have anchored. Anchored means if we play the game that it won't like physics aren't really made to it. So if we join in, you can see that this one starts to float. This one used to be about here, but now it's on the ground. And if you look closely, you can actually kick it around a bit, see? But you can't do it with this. Anchored means no physics are applied to it. Well, actually, some physics, like, alright. So we cannot anchor on. The next one is can collide. Can collide means that players and other objects can touch it. So if we have it can collide and off, what this will mean is if we join the game, it should just sink through the ground because collisions aren't on. Yeah, it's gone. Because the collisions, but if I just anchor it really quick, replay. And here we have the floating that's uncollidable. So up here, let's go over this right here, even though so if we, turn on can collide. So, we'll get more into like collision and archivable. So like that. So like locked means like if we lock it, that means if we have the pointer tool or any tool for that matter, if we see, you can see if we put it over the mouse, it starts to hover blue and the mouse icon changes. But if we hover over a locked item, you can see that doesn't appear. And we can enable lock by right here in the lock tool. You can enable or disable it. So if we lock it, you can see this is unlocked. So you can just click it and drag it around. But if we're here, you can't click it at all. You must go into the part, you must select it, and then do some manual. Sometimes this is good. This is pretty good on preventing exploiters. because like B tools need unlocks. So that. So in this play right here, you can see that there's 3 options. There's play here, and run. Play is where the default spawn location is. So if we actually insert a spawn location, that's where when you press play, you're going to spawn. Play here is where if you run the play here, it's going to spawn your player where your camera is located. So normally I would spawn about over there or so, but this time I'm spawning over here. All right. While we're in here, you can see that there's current client, and then if we press that, server. So we'll explain more about clients and servers in another video, but let's just get the basics. So a server is the server, okay? It can see a lot of people at once. So if we move something on the server, the client will see. But if, say, the client moves something, so let's select move. Say the client moves it all the way over here. The server won't see that. The server, but that's like for exporting. So let's just do this is a command line. So we got a delete tool, all right? So you can see that this is just like some built-in delete tool. So we can delete that, all right? So we deleted those 2. The client can't see them anymore, but the server still does. And the player can't collide with this. So if I think we move a bit more like this. See, the client can't collide with this because it's not on the client, but the server can still see it's a thing. So this is why client and server is going to be so important later on. So if you actually look down here, we have properties for many things. So we have like camera for the workspace. So these have their own properties. Players. We have lighting. So if we actually turn up the brightness, it's going to go really bright. If we turn it down, it's not going to be bright at all. 2 is the default. Global shadows. Let's see what this is. Let me tell you what this is. So let's say we scale this to about a 1 by 1. All right, now let's grow this. Now let's rotate. Let's just make sure. Let's just make like a small box. Put in a roof. Now it might not look like this, but if we actually go to the lighting, we'll do a play here. Let's make sure these are all anchored. So let's just do a play here. So let's do a play here. So if we spawn inside here, hopefully we do. Nope. But you can see, look, there's shadows around it. You can see your player's shadow, right? Right there. You can see your player's shadow. If we turn off global shadows, well, it's not going to remove it, but you can see over here, this used to have shadows, but now it doesn't. So that's what the global shadows does. Legacy outline, I really wouldn't care much about that. I think it does something. Oh, makes something weird. Oh. Clock time, this is like ours, so we have 24 hours a day. So if you want to make it time script, I recommend you use time a day if you want to make it more accurate. But if you want it like least accurate, this will be better. So it can improve by, well, this can handle decimals, but it's normally handled by wholes. So I'm going to just set it to a 12. So that's new. Fog color, so we can make like a fog is something really like a real life fog. So we have a fog start and a fog end. Fog start we can do 10. Nothing will happen. Well, I think this only works when you're playing. Let's see. So we're starting to play right here. Alright, so if we actually go into the lighting, fog. I think it's fog end actually. Yes, fog end. Fog end. If that's low, the lower it is, the more foggy it will be. So if we actually turn this to 20, it'll be noticeable, but it just looks like a spotlight kinda. So you can't really see this. But if you do another fog end, So a fog start makes it look more realistic. The lower it is, if it's a 0, that's like that. But if you turn it really up, then it'll just look like a big spot right here. And then fog end is just how much fog there is. So hopefully I explained it well enough. Frick. Let's do replicated first. Replicated first is, I believe, something that happens right when you like boot up the game. Replicated storage. Replicated storage is basically a local player storage. So if we have any objects in here, let's make like a box. Let's just make a bool. We'll talk more about this in another video. So if we start the game, so anyways, I wanted to kind of say why I'm doing kind of YouTube. Well, one, I really want to help you guys out. I believe since Roblox right now is overcome by simulators, I kind of want people to start working on classic games, like, you know, something that's not a simulator. So a replicated storage, you can see right here, replicated storage has a lot of local player things, and this will be always different on every client. If say you made a change to the replicated storage, like say I added a animation, all right? The client and local scripts will be able to read that, okay? And then the server won't see that. It will see this, but replicated storage on a server will see the replicated storage of every single player. So it's not very practical to use a server script on a replicated storage. But see if you can see the animation, that's because the server can't see it. That's only a client item. So hopefully I explained that well. Server scripts service. So it can only handle scripts and modules. We'll talk more about these later. This script, these can apply to this will apply to the whole server, while local scripts will apply to the client. Right. So this is pretty useful for making like server scripts, like say time, maybe like save states, all of that. You wouldn't want to do a save state on a client because that could be easily hacked and modified. Server storage. This is basically like replicated storage, but the client can't access this. Only the server can. Starter GUI. We'll talk more about GUIs in another video. So starter GUI. This is for like clients, but the server can see it. So a starter GUI is basically a GUI on the screen. So that's where you can store it, and it will go into the player when you start the game. Starter pack. This is where you put like tools and other things that the starter player will need. Stuff like this. If you put a tool, it will automatically appear in their backpack. Let's do starter player. Starter player is basically when the player starts. So in the starter player, actually, you can see a bunch of properties inside that you can change. Starter character scripts. What a starter character script is, so a player has a player and a character. So let's start a game. Let me show you what I mean. Alright, anyways. So, in the workspace, in the players, we can see that brand new typical, which is me, has the player aspect, has the player thing. So if you look in the data, or the properties, you can see that this one has their appearance, they have their name, the parent, talk more about parents, children's, and all of that, the user ID, all of this. But the player's character, this is a character. This is the player's character. This is what you physically see. So if we say, got rid of my mask, oh look, there's no more mask. I mean, the server won't see it because this is Roblox Studio, so it's a bit different. So this is basically your whole body, okay? So if you delete your head, you're dead, okay? You delete the humanoid root part. So this is for R15 or R15, I believe. The humanoid root part is the main part of your body, okay? If I delete it, look, I'm back in R6, and I'm unable to control my body. It won't kill you. It's only if you delete your head or torso, I believe, upper torso, yeah, or upper torso, you're dead. So with that, so the character will access the character, which is in the workspace, while the player script will access the player right here. Teams, pretty self-explanatory. It's called a team, so we'll get more how to use these. Sound service. I never use this, and I don't think a lot of people do, but I guess I'll stuff. So this is the sound service. It's mostly used for sounds and like music and stuff like that. Chat. Chat is, so when you, in Roblox, you can chat, and this is the chat module. So if you, let's just start a game. So you can check in chat, there's already things loaded. Inside we have the bubble chat script, right? So you can actually read this. You can see how it works and everything, right? We have the chat script, how it works. We have a bunch of this. And we have some like other this. So anyways, you can actually copy these modules and put them in, which then you can actually edit for changes like owner tag next to the title or anything. Localization service, I don't know what this is. Or the test service. I don't think anybody uses it at all. Let me highlight the ones that are mainly used. This, sometimes this, barely this, but we still use it. I'll just tell you why. This, sometimes this, and this. The rest are pretty much useless because the sound service, you can actually just insert sounds into the workspace. So it's kind of useless. Anyways, let's go over here, model. So here is kind of more of an advanced option. So advanced options, this will allow something. Some people use it. I personally don't. I just have it open. So then in here we can actually, I forgot to mention that there's certain parts you can make. So you can make a block, a spear, a wedge, a cylinder. Here you can also edit the material, the color, the surface. So the surface is, let me tell you. So if we change the surface to studs, put it on top. Look at that. Now it looks like this, right? Here's the rotate. So normally this would set at the default would be 45 and 1. All right. So let me tell you what a stud is. So if we actually go into the view and show grid material, right? It might look weird, but you'll get used to it. So one of these is a stud. That's a stud. One stud. So with the default move of one stud, you can only scale and move in increments of a stud. One stud. Sometimes this is useful, sometimes it's really annoying when you want to make really small things very precisely. So, rotate, same thing. Rotate tool, you can only turn in axes of 45. Nothing else. Transform, it's just like the transform tool is basically all these tools inside one. So that's good. Also, it's a bit useful to see, like this. I rarely use it, but I should get using it. So that's rotation. For some reason, the locking mechanism of the studs do not apply here, which is good. But anyways, if you wanted to use these default tools without this, you can disable move. What it does is it will set it to the exact value of 0. So you can move it super seamlessly and very skinny. But sometimes that will be too little and you might get OCD trying to be precise. Here is where you can change this to like 0.25. 0.25 is equal to 1/4. So it means 1/4 of a stud. So we have 2/4 or a half. This is 3/4, and this is another whole stud. So this is useful. I normally use 0.25 personally, but everybody uses different. We'll talk about these tools. We'll talk about union, negate, and separate. Here you can just do some really cool stuff, like physics things, I think. So we can make a rope. This rope will be affected, I think. So if we move this, yeah, the rope is an accurate piece of rope. Okay. Hopefully I explained this well enough. So right here we can have scripts. So let's just run scripts so that like you have your saved. You can make a script instantly in the workspace, I believe, or if you're highlighted. I think it's only the workspace. So that. We'll talk more about keybinds in the next video because these videos are approaching 20 minutes. But that's the basics of Roblox Studio, and I hope you enjoyed.